We have here with us MJ Gopalan, better known as MJ, and I don't think there's anyone in Madras on any playing field who does not know him. Both in cricket and in hockey, he has been a legend for many decades. A darling of crowds in Madras for many years. Even today, you can come across many a spectator describe Gopalan's bowling and his artistry in hockey with eloquence and admiration. Of course, the man would have to be in his 60s to have watched and remembered Gopalan at his best. A man so totally meek and humble, but on the playing field, one to be afraid of. Gopal, can you tell us when and where you were born and give us some insight into your early childhood?
Mr. Gopinath, to start with, I must thank you for the nice words you have said about me during my cricket and hockey career. For your information, I was born in a small village called Murupakam, very close to Maduranthakam. It's about 1.5 miles away, and Tangalpet district. We were doing most of the agricultural supervision. My father, though we didn't have too many lands to look after, whatever the little he was possessing, we were helping him to supervise. As a matter of fact, in a family, myself being the last boy, I'm certain they wouldn't have, or they have not found fault with me for not attending their work during that agricultural period. My eldest brother, late M.J. Darswamy Iyengar, was working in National Bank as a clerk for some time, and he wanted to give some education to our brothers and myself. Therefore, I was asked to go to Madras from a village when I was about 12 years old. Even before I left my village, I was having my education in the school. We used to write the letters in Tamil on a sandboard. We didn't have the usual slates and usual slate pencils. Anyhow, that went off very well. When I came back to Madras, luckily I was admitted in Kellett High School, which is in Triple Cane, which was managed by missionary principals and headmasters. That school had all sporting activities. Used to have cricket matches between two schools and the hockey matches with two schools. That was a starting point of my sporting career.
What year were you actually born?
1909, 6th June.
I see. What was your family? How many brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I mean, we were 6, and all brothers, and so happened I'm the last boy left over.
And your family, obviously, from what you said, they were of an agricultural background. Was anybody in your family or your elder brothers or uncles or anybody involved in sport of any kind?
Nothing. I mean, I myself don't know how I got these two games. Though my nephews, that is my brother's sons, they have played little cricket and they got a lot of interest, improved the game. I don't know what made them so slowly give away the games.
So you are one of those one might call prodigies in the sense that the family or your brothers were not particularly famous or involved in any sport. So one wonders what brought the sporting talent in you. I mean, how did you get involved in games and get to the ability and achievements that you had?
See, very, very difficult to say about that. But when I was young, I used to watch youngsters playing in the street, as we see many of the youngsters, thousands of chaps, playing in nook and corner at the moment. By seeing them playing cricket and hockey, I got little interest, which made me to take up cricket and hockey.
This was, I presume, after you moved into Madras from your village.
Yeah.
And you told us that you were in Kellett High School. I mean, what were the games you played in the school? Did you play, I mean, did the school play several games and you played them all, or did you confine yourself to your pet games of cricket and hockey?
Yeah, I confined to cricket and hockey. Though we had football and other things, I didn't take part in that.
So your games were hockey and cricket. And generally, how at school level, this is, I suppose, when you were 12 and 13 and that sort of thing. How did you do in school in cricket and hockey?
As a matter of fact, in the schools, we didn't have coaches, or we didn't have much of a ground to have practice. The only thing, whenever they arrange a match between two schools, we go and play on the strength what you do on the net practice, that is in the streets.
So there was no particular thing as a coaching or strategy or
not
anything
at all,
like
not
that?
at all.
So in your school cricket, was there any particular incident that you can tell us something about, any particular match or particular performance of yours that you can remember, a highlight point of in your school days?
Yes, certainly I'll tell you that. You see, particularly when Calcutta High School playing Hindu High School, Hindu also is in triple cane.
This was like Eton and Harrow matches, I suppose.
And the rivalry is so much that whenever we met each other, the schools will be closed.
And they declare a holiday.
They'll declare a holiday. Collect will have our boys come and watch and encourage the collect team. And the Hindu school boys, they come to the field and encourage the Hindu school team. There in the Hindu school, we had one name called Sikh and Naina Kanu. Very good bat. I was just coming up in bowling, and he scored about more than 100 runs in that match. And eventually, though he scored so many runs, we won the match. To assist our Calcutta High School, people might have heard about V. Jagannathan. He was a very good bowler. He died when he was young.
So this particular match is what stands in your memory as a high point.
Yeah.
And did you get Naina Kanu out?
I couldn't tell you that. I don't remember. You see, I mean, it's very difficult for me. I'm so much aged. I mean, I can't tell you what the things happened so many years back.
What I would like to ask you is, whilst you are in Kellett High School, what kind of student were you? And I mean, were you keen on your studies along with your games, or did you concentrate entirely on games? What kind of a student were you in school days?
Very disciplinarian. We were taught discipline first. And we used to assemble in the assembly hall just before the time for the prayer, before we go to the classes. If anyone comes late for the prayer, he will be checked by the principal. The individual will be caned 5 times or 6 times before he starts dispersing the hall prayer.
And when you were in school, I mean, were your parents also in Madras, or did they stay in the village?
No, most of them, we were in village. You know, I used to go to the practice field called Plexshed, which is very close to Triple Cane seashore, adjoining to Elk Park. Before I leave my house, what I used to do, I tie up my banyan under my clothes.
I see.
So that my people may not mistake me saying that I'm going out for something else, instead of going to the field to practice. By the time I returned from the practice field, my eldest brother would have returned from the bank and be sitting outside the house. He'll be closely watching me when I was coming back. Before I could appear in front of him, the banyan will go back to the same place. I will go to my house with the bare body. If it is very little late, I used to get good punching.
So, quite honestly, which means you were trying to go and play in the hope that you wouldn't be caught out and they wouldn't find fault with you for studying time on the playing field.
Yeah, correct. Do you know, whenever I get hurt when I play hockey or cricket, till I reach or till I appear just before my house, I used to limp. When I was reaching my house, and I'll show as if nothing has happened to me. Even if I could sit along with my brothers for meals or anything else, I'll be the last person to get up so that they may not watch my hurt or my wound.
And ask questions why and what happened and where did you get that from. Well, that's quite interesting, and I suppose the youngsters today don't have to do that sort of thing because they get a lot of freedom to go and do whatever they want. And Gopal, tell me, which means at school level, there was no coaching at all. I mean, you had to just go and play and learn by yourself. Or were there older players or any school teachers who would coach you or give you the basics in the game? How to bat or how to hold a bat or anything like that?
I couldn't tell you that much because my school always have, any school, those days used to have drill master. We call physical directors nowadays. We call them as a drill master. That gentleman used to be the caretaker of the games and give instructions to the cricketers and as well as the hockey players. I couldn't tell you whether they got so much of knowledge to put forth to the youngster so that they can come up.
So I suppose he gave his own views or his own thinking of how to play.
Yeah, but we developed our game by seeing better, and we used to go and watch the games better and other things. And when I was saying, actually you'll be surprised to hear that in the olden days, Presidency College, they used to have 2 teams net practice in the evening. I used to go and stand behind the net thinking that I might get a chance to bowl. Most of the chaps, when I get tired, they'll just ask me, you would like to bowl? Come and bowl. Therefore, immediately I grabbed that chance. I used to bowl. That's how I got my practice in the bowling. And I'll never miss going to the Presidency College ground in the evenings when I was young.
Which is really creditable in the sense that most of it is self-taught by watching other people, watching more senior players and doing what you thought they were doing right.
Yeah.
That's very remarkable because now, no matter what, even at 6 years old, you don't do anything without a coach. Gopal, tell me, when you were in school, I don't know those days what sort of visiting teams or anything. Did you dream of doing well in hockey or cricket, playing for the country or representing India? Did you? What I'm trying to say is, did you have ambitions at that stage that at one point of time you wanted to represent the country or the state and play cricket of that class or hockey of that class?
Mr. Gopinath, I didn't think for a moment like that, but it so happened I must consider that I was lucky. One Mr. Patridge of Englishman used to bring up a team to play against Madras Cricket Club. For that, he used to approach some good people to play for his team. It so happened he contacted one Mr. late C.R. Ganapati Pillai, who was a registrar in Madras University. He asked him to play and requested him to get a bowler also. Because during that time, I have shown some interest, some standard of bowling. I was exhibiting to other in the clubs when I was playing. He took interest in me. Then Mr. Ganapati has chosen to go and play for Patridge 11 against MCC. I'm a right-hand bowler. I was having a broken finger. I had to bowl with the 4 fingers. But with the 4 fingers, without taking any consideration of the pain or anything, I bowled really well and got few wickets. Immediately, we thought that I got something in me if if I'm given any chance of encouragement, possibly of coming out as a bowler. Immediately went to Mr. Subramaniam. He was all in all for Madras cricket and all in all Madras United Club. He approached him and told him, so-and-so is not bad, he's good enough to play for a club. Why don't you take him in that team? Immediately he came to Calcutta High School. He asked me to join in MUC as a member.
Even when you were a student in the school?
Yeah. The reason for that I should join the club so early as that, 1926, when he took a team to Bombay, 1926. That Bombay team, that MUC team contained very good cricketers. People might have heard about Venkat Ramanjulu, Balaya Bhatt, Yoganathan, C.R. Ganapati, and myself. And by going to Bombay, playing different matches at Bombay as well as in Pune, I did well. I can't say how many wickets I got and everything, every match, but did well, and gave me a good confidence for my future bowling.
One more question about your sort of childhood days. When you were still in school level, did you have any great childhood heroes? I mean, as you know, I mean, all the children now want to be Kapil Dev when they grow up, or some other person. Did you have any heroes and you tried to walk like them, or you tried to talk like them, or you wanted to achieve the heights or achieve the distinctions they have achieved? Did you have anybody in particular? Or
Mr. Gopinath, none of those things struck me then.
Well, I suppose that was the way it was. All you wanted to do was to play cricket or play games, and that's all your interest was, really. Gopal, now, at what age did you leave school and join a profession? I suppose when you were in school, you did your SSLC of those days.
Yeah.
And when you finished that, I presume you left school.
Yeah.
And did you join a profession at that time?
So happened, the olden days, the local cricketers, cricket clubs or any club used to have Europeans as presidents or vice presidents. Well, the idea is to get money from them. Without asking them, every year they used to send the money to the respective clubs. It so happened, one Mr. Strainthorpe, Burmasters officer, now is called Bharat Petroleum, then previously it's called Burma Shell. He was a good hockey player. So happened we were playing a hockey match, and Mr. Strainthorpe also played for me. During the off time, he came to me and asked me what that I was doing then. I told him that I'm in the school, I'm studying, I'm the sixth form student. Next moment he asked me, would you like to join Burma Shell if you get a job? If I get it, definitely I'll come. That's what my reply was. All right, please see me tomorrow morning in the office, 10:30. Punctually, because we were taught the discipline and punctuality when you were studying in Calcutta High School. Therefore, punctually I went to Burma Shell and met Mr. Strainthorpe. Without any examination or any questioning, immediately he has appointed me to go into work in a department called General Department, in stationery. As a matter of fact, during my career there as a stationery clerk, I was not doing much of the work then. The other people used to do for me. I was started, those days, even though we had started on a low scale, we were continuing to carry on with that. Very surprising when I got a job in 1929.
This was in 1929?
1929, I joined Burma Shell. Very nice people. I worked in all Europeans. They like you very much if you could do well, be honest, the hard work. They know individuals' work. That they don't depend on others' remark or others' recommendations.
So it was really your hockey that took you into Burma Shell rather than your cricket?
Yeah, certainly. Otherwise, I went to got a job in Burma Shell, particularly those days when Burma Shell, anybody gets in Burma Shell, supposed to be very good job than government jobs.
Yes, all the oil companies were held at very high.
No, first the network of Burma Shell such. Afterwards, the Standard Oil Company came in and Caltex came in.
So when you joined Burma Shell, I mean, coming back to, well, you joined them because of hockey, but coming back to cricket, what was the kind of cricket that was played in Madras? Were they recognized clubs that played, one against the other? Or what was the kind of cricket that was played now that you had gone out of school and into a next level? Was it club cricket? Were there many clubs in Madras which played against each other?
We didn't have as many clubs as we got at the moment. We had very few clubs, say 5 to 6 clubs. Very good standard. Every team has got a good cricketers. Whenever they meet one another, the game used to be very exciting. Particularly when I used to play for a Triple Cricket Club. Particularly when you play against Marseille, the contests would be so great. We used to work hard to beat the other teams. But when you come out of the game, very friendly. But the difference is, when TCC playing in Marseille, all the people from Malapur, they'll come and park their cars in Medina. You can see hundreds of cars will standing there watching the game. The Triple nights, we don't have, we'll have to walk the distance by foot. And the interest of the game, the keenness of the game is such. Both the sides have enjoyed very much, both the people.
This was on the Marina ground,
Marina, always Marina.
That's where most of it was played.
But you see, sometimes some of the clubs, they refuse to play in Marina whenever we play. I mean, every ground is my home ground. But the crowd will be coming so great. They'll try to encourage only TCC than the other team.
And Gopalan, no doubt. Yeah. Well, but these matches, was there a league there at the time, or were they just informal matches you fixed and played as and when you wanted to play? This was on a Saturday or a Sunday, or Sundays, I suppose, mostly.
Oh, yeah. Marseille had a top-class team like Battu, Balaya, Ramsamy, Ganapati Pillai, C.K. Krishnasamy Pillai. And we had C.R. Rangachari, M. Srinivasan, and other people.
Ganapati Pillai was also a bowler, wasn't he?
Oh, very good.
Was he a fast bowler?
You can't get a bowler like Mr. Medium pace. He's got so much control, direction, length. He can beat anybody. Particularly whenever he plays any English team, you can see the batsmen dancing for his ball. They can't play him at all.
Yes, they always said that every match he got so many wickets, particularly playing against foreign teams and so on.
No, very.
Gopal, tell me, at that time, were there any turf wickets in Madras, or do you play in matting wickets, or were there turf wickets in Madras?
We play matting as well as turf wickets. We are having as Chepak and MUC. Then MUC had turf. Now it has been made to matting. MC, that is Chepak now, TNC has got the turf. But now the turf, there is a lot of difference between the olden days turf and the present days turf. We had a lot of matches and matting only. The MCC people alone, they play the matches on the ground, on the turf. They'll have better practice on the turf than on the matting. Whenever you got any Ranji match or any team coming out from outside, we'll have to play on the turf. The most of the team players, since they had a matting practice, they like to have some turf practice. They'll come to MCC just 2 or 3 days before the match. But even then they're having 2 or 3 days games practice. They used to do very well.
Was Marina ground also a turf wicket those days?
Once when C.K. Krishnasamy Pillai was there, and it was supervised P.R. Subramaniam, he was physical director. Then we had, for a short period, but maintaining the turf is not easy thing,
Quite. Gopal, just now you said that there was a big difference between the turf wickets those days and these days. What do you mean by it? I mean, what was the difference?
The difference was we can see it is so nice grass, very thin grass, thin blade, and because it has been looked after by these European secretaries or Patridge or Richmond, they used to, whenever they passed that Menina, they used to go into the ground and watch them. And they had wonderful ground staffs. They used to do the work as if they are going just like we go to the office and do the work. They had so much faith in doing that. Those days you can't find even a spot of barren ground. Since now because of our present stadium, we had to move our turf towards north, say about 25 to 30 feet. Therefore, the original earth as well as the grass has gone too. Therefore, we find all little bit thick grasses, and also we didn't have so much of matches played those days than what we are doing now.
The club that you played for in Madras, TCC, Triplicane Cricket Club, did you play for this club all your life? Or did you play for any other clubs?
As a matter of fact, I was mostly sticking on to TCC. That is my club. But whenever MUC or Emmanuel Club, they wanted my service to play against any good side, I used to assist them.
No, but your club was TCC.
Yes, TCC is my club.
How many years did you play for TCC?
I can't tell you that. I mean, I played many more years till I found unfit to play.
Well, I don't think you were ever unfit to play. I suppose
I meant whether I could withstand the strain, That's the main thing.
And you said that you did play for MUC. What was your connection with the MUC, and how did you happen to go on play for them or go on tours with them?
Correct. After 1926 and 1927, they took me to Calcutta. We played many matches there, and I have done very well as a bowler. And then 1929, the MUC took me to Rangoon to play series of matches. This going about gave me so much confidence, and I did well every tour. I'd like to tell you one thing. I was having a tuft. Every time when I bowled, the tuft used to loosen, and then I had to keep the ball in between my two legs. I put a knot, again start bowling. Maybe it may be a little nuisance batsman or the umpire or anyone, but I had to do it because of my tuft. My friends, Mr. C. Ramasamy, Balaya, few people, they came to my place. They wanted to cut my tuft. I cried and told them that my parents are all very orthodox and you are not supposed to cut my tuft. Leave me alone. I'm certain that thing won't interfere in my game.
Well, that's quite. In fact, I had only heard about this, and I've never asked you this before. But since you mentioned it, in fact, from some of the older cricketers and older spectators, they have said to me that your bowling has been described like an express train running, with your tuft flying from side to side. And I was going to ask you at a later point when this was in fact true, and now you've given the answer. And in fact, it was said that after bowling every ball, you had to redo or knot your tuft.
But one thing, Mr. Gopi, my running to the wicket, not so fast as you mentioned. I mean, very good. I don't take more than 20 space.
Well, that's interesting sideline in the sense that. But how did the spectators take this? I mean, they didn't mind it, or they, you can imagine today they'll make a lot of noise. But I suppose those days they respected such things.
I can tell you, not only respecting such kind of actions, but they came and watched the game. They are more interested in the game than anything else. Therefore, the chance of not finding fault with that. I don't delay the game because of that. Though The spectators more keen, I am certain. I don't say that those who watch the games nowadays, they are not so much interested in games, whether they are well versed in the game. But then I can dare say 100% people those who watch, they know the game and the final points of the game.
This is. And Gopal, when did you finally take your tuft off?
Before I went to Patiala, I went there in the year 1932 for the trial match. For selecting the team to go to England in the year 1932. I had to remove it Delhi railway station.
That's an odd place to choose to do that.
Yeah, that is the time I removed it, 1932.
I see. Oh, that's quite an interesting sideline. Coming back to cricket, you said you played for clubs and perhaps weekend matches, but did you have regular practices? Did you go somewhere and practice every evening or anything like that?
We didn't have a regular practice then. The only I had regular practice was after coming from, before I go to England, and my regular practice will be watching the Presidency College boys playing cricket, asking me to bowl for them for a short period, that in the later period when everyone got exhausted. That is the only occasion I had the practice. My weekend matches are supposed to be the practice matches.
In which case, every day, did you do anything to maintain physical fitness? Did you do any running or, anything for normal physical fitness, as one might call it?
Certainly. I mean, I had my usual running on the sand and regular exercise, and then I used to have sort of exercise which will build up a body. Not too heavily. I mean, the only give a good grip for the shoulder and everything. Hip.
Yeah, I think this is very important. I mean, particularly if you're only playing for weekends. Gopal, the other thing I would like to come to is sort of the kind of, apart from league cricket, there's sort of a slightly higher level of cricket. I think those days the whole of South India was called Madras Presidency, and if I remember right, I've read somewhere that the big matches used to be the Presidency Matches. Is that right? And how were you involved in that?
Oh, it used to be very keen contest between Europeans and Indians. And the Indians team used to pick up from all the states. That is, Madras Presidency.
That's the southern states as
southern.
They are now.
Yeah. There is Hyderabad, Bangalore, and other places. We used to have very good cricketers like P.A. Kanikam, supposed to be, he was called as Jacobs of South, and a good player. The same way the Europeans combined with the Anglo-Indian boys, they used to have a very good team. I had to play the first match in the year 1927. That too, it was a very difficult choice for the selectors to choose me for the Indian
to play
team.
Against the Europeans.
Yeah. Because a lot of contest between me and C.K. Nayana Karnu, who was studying in the Hindu high school. He was a good bat. But I was a bowler then. They gave a preference to a bowler because of doing well in all the matches. The selectors thought that I would suit as a bowler if I am taken in. And did well and bowled very well. I created good confidence in my selectors.
I think these European versus Indians matches were the sort of a yearly Pungal holiday festival matches. Isn't it? I think they were the highest class of cricket that the spectator in Madras could have seen those days.
There was the highest class of cricket, but not the highest cost of watching the game. We had only 2NS and 4NS and 12NS galleries, not less, as we got 400 and 500 rupees.
But they used to put up galleries for these matches.
Very small one they used to put. We will never get much of a crowd as we got now, as we are getting now. And those who was there, we enjoyed the game most.
But they were the big matches for the year.
For the year, they wait for it. They wait for it. And they'll talk about a few days before the presidency match and after the few days after the presidency match.
Like we talk about Test cricket now.
Yes. And the ground then used to be very good, very green and all surrounded by good trees. Now the stadiums come. And because of that, we can easily swing the ball as we want to. It was helping the bowler in every.
Yes, even now mostly we have our Test matches and Pungal holidays, so that tradition is still carrying on of our biggest cricket or the best cricket being played over Pungal holidays. No doubt, I mean, you must have played against the Europeans on many occasions and many years. Are there any particular interesting matches or incidents that you can recollect on those European versus Indian matches? Any special performance of yours that made you feel satisfied, and anything interesting in those particular matches that you can recollect?
Frankly, I can tell you that I can't tell you that because I did my best and I don't remember which Presidency match I have done well. And I can watch the other people, the Europeans, the H.V. Ward, C.P. Johnson playing the match. I used to enjoy their batting.
And by and large, who won in these matches, the Europeans or the Indians?
Sometimes the Indians, sometimes the Europeans.
Suppose they came with a lot of tradition and standards from England, I suppose.
Yeah. But even Indian teams then, Sikh Naidu and C.S. Naidu, Palya used to assist.
Oh, I see. They were invited to join the Indian
team. They were
team.
invited to join the team, Presidency team. You'll be surprised to hear from me, one ball he hit of Wilmot of MCC chap, one of the chaps. It went and landed near the present stadium car park. In the hall, it was called like old engineering college ground. It landed in the middle of the ground.
Oh, that's a remarkable hit. This was C.K. Naidu, was it?
C.K. Naidu. I mean, I always love him. I mean, a great cricketer. And his movements and everything, his advice, no comparison at all.
Talking about C.K. Naidu, I mean, slightly, some people of that time, the commentary was that he was a hitter, and any time you wanted a sixer, C.K. Naidu will hit a sixer. Was he just a hard-hitting, brute force kind of batsman, or was he really an artistic and a batsman?
Artistic. The mostly timing, He steps out. He makes a good bowling also look small. He used to step out. And if he finds it a little difficult to play any bowler, he will step out and bang.
The power behind was such.
Power behind, he had a beautiful wrist. The tall, wiry, flexible, and very, if you could see him, neatly dressed with a kerchief in his neck, tied up, and a silk shirt, very good.
Yes, he had a tremendous cricketing figure, I think. Yes, I have seen him.
If I watched him coming from out of the pavilion, coming to the ground, you can see how he nicely walks.
Yeah, that's a remarkable thing for you to say, because I've often said that when a player walks out of the pavilion with a bat in his hand and he walks to the centre, you can almost say before he's playing any shot what sort of a cricketer he is and whether he's a cricketer at all.
Yes.
Merely by the way he walks up.
Yeah.
I think it's quite a...
But he used to give a lot of encouragement for the cricketers. If you bowl well, he'll come and tap you. Well bowled, keep it up. That's what he used to say.
Yes, I believe he was very sporting also.
Very, very sporting, very sporting.
Gopal, can you tell us which was the first foreign touring team that you played against?
First, 1927, Gilligan's team, foreign team, came to Madras. It consists of people might have heard about Morris State.
Oh, yes.
Brown, Shandam, such a top-class team. We played a couple of matches. There is against Indians and all Madras. We were not so good to play against them. Therefore, it was a very keen match. That was the first match I played, and I bowled well.
Against the touring Gilligan's side?
Gilligan's.
How did we fare generally?
They scored heavily, C.R. Ganapati Pillai and other people had to play for our team. I can't tell you who won and who lost.
And after that, I think, did Madras take a team to Ceylon in 1930 or anything like that? Because I remember this being talked about.
No, 1930, all Ceylon came to India.
Oh, they came here.
They came here.
They came.
We didn't go to Ceylon that year. They came here and they toured all over. They won, they drew against good teams, even in test matches also. The last match they played in Madras.
Against the Madras.
Madras 11.
This was called the All Madras team.
All Madras team. And people taken from Hyderabad, Mysore, and people. It was a combined side. That match I bowled really well. I mean, that's what the others say, but I don't know how well I bowled. I got about 7 wickets in the first inning and 6 wickets in the second inning. The first inning, they were not able to score more than 72 runs. And the second inning, they made it all right, and then finally we won the match. And there was the first occasion they got beaten by Madras side.
Oh, I see, the All Ceylon side.
I did really well. I mean, I bowled very well. During that, they gave me that ball mounted on silver.
Oh, I see.
They
that
gave
is
me,
tremendous.
yeah. That after the match, because I got, including a hat-trick.
Oh, you got a hat-trick in that match?
Yeah.
Oh,
I forgot to tell you that, including, I mean, I didn't want to talk much about my own
but we want to know.
And therefore, something will come out, something may not come out. Therefore, I bowled 3 chaps, Hubert, Kalat, and Jai Vikrama.
Oh, yes.
I got the hat-trick.
Jai Vikrama's name is well known.
Yeah.
He was
Kalat also might have heard about him. There was only occasion, I mean, they got beaten in Madras. And during lunchtime, after lunchtime, do you know what happened? They mounted the ball and then it was presented to me.
Well, 13 wickets in a match with a hat-trick is a performance. And after the Ceylon one, I think the next one was the touring side, is when Hobbs and Sutcliffe came to India, or came and played in Madras.
Maharaj of Vijayanagaram, he brought such a good side that Hobbs, Herbert Sutcliffe, Sikhanaidu, Palia, Srisnadu, Shababuddin. He brought a very good side and toured Madras, I mean all India, and then went to Colombo also. I was so fortunate enough to get Hobbs' wicket.
I see.
And my contemporary C.K. Lakshmanan, very good bowler, he was in the slips and he held a good catch. The second inning, then I didn't know whether I was swinging. I mean, I used to attack the wicket. But it so happened, Hobbs missed the flight of the ball and the leg stump was knocked out. That was the second wicket I got of Hobbs. I was so happy then.
You mean you got Hobbs twice?
Twice.
In the same match?
Yeah. I mean, that match had to be played after rain. Therefore, we had to put on a matting on turf.
I see.
We played that match in MCC Chepauk.
Oh,
Captain by C.P. Johnson.
I mean, a man of Hobbs' caliber, I mean, to get him out twice in one match, but I think it's very creditable, really.
No, it was so nice in that age, Herbert Sutcliffe and Hobbs running between the wickets, how nicely they were taking the singles. They used to say the singles is much more important than scoring 2s and 4s or 6s. And you have to have seen Hobbs fielding at the cover. They say Hobbs at cover. The throw is so good. And even in that age was fielding in the cover. He did so marvelously.
Yes, even now it's said that, I mean, the way they used to run their singles, no one has ever been, the understanding between that pair, apparently they could almost defend and keep walking or running and crossing and taking a single.
Yeah, very good.
Tell me, during all this period where we've been talking about for about almost a decade or 10 years, during this period of your life, were you playing hockey also at the same time?
I was playing till, I think, 1952.
So you were playing both games?
Not, in the latter part I was not so active. I was just playing for the club.
In the 30s, you were playing active hockey along with your cricket?
Along with my cricket, as well as I was representing our state, And that state hockey team used to contain top-class people like Gilbert, Blankley, O'Hara, and also.
But how did you do this? Wasn't there any clash between the two games? I mean, you can't play cricket one day and the hockey the next day, and how did you manage to play both games at that level?
I was so lucky. The cricket starts from July, August, something like that, finishes by February end. The hockey season starts from March, goes up till June. Therefore, I get an interval about a month to get into hockey or cricket. And by playing both the games, I was feeling very fit.
Which meant because of the different seasons, you
We had
were
different
active
seasons.
throughout the year.
Yeah,
6 months or so you played cricket, and the rest of the year you played hockey.
yeah.
I see. So that kept you going.
But in addition to these two games gave me good stead, I used to go from my house from Triple Cane to Tandapet. 1936 too,
Yes.
I gone to England with the Indian team, and what I used to do, I used to leave my house very early to Tandapet. As soon as I came back from England too, I was promoted from head office, asked to work in the insulation, which is about 6 miles from Triple Cane. Every morning I had to leave by 6 o'clock, reach a Tandapet insulation where we were having a lot of oil tanks, be there by 7:30, get on to the tanks and take the ledges and the dips before starting the work. Work finishes by 5 o'clock in the evening, come back to MUC, then I have become a regular member of Madras Unity Club. It is on my way to my house. I keep my cycle there, have a cricket practice during cricket time, the hockey practice during hockey. That is the thing made me very good. I didn't mind about a rainy day or a hot sun or anything. Particularly, the hockey tournaments used to be held during March. That too, particularly MCC tournament supposed to be a very keen contested tournament, and it will be contested by all the top class hockey teams. I used to come, my manager used to take bet on me, saying I have taken so much of bet on MUC, see that we must try to win the game, and allow me about half an hour before so that I may reach the place in time. I had to walk the place, I had to pedal up very hard against the wind. And by the time I reached the ground, MCC ground, Chepak, my team would have received a couple of goals against Railway or Telegraph, supposed to be very strong sides. At the time, everyone will be expecting me where MJ is. As soon as they see me, my colors coming on cycle, then you would have heard a huge noise, so and so is coming. Once I step into the ground, the trend of the game will be changed, because they need a really good centre-off. By saying so, I mustn't consider that I'm such a good centre-off. But somehow I was playing a good game, and they were not able to do anything against us. We used to equalize, and sometimes we used to go through the match also.
That's very creditable, really.